We always say at the beginning of each show that we hope you're having a great day. Every day should be allowed to be a positive one. You can't control what happens in it, but always you can try to control your own thoughts. That's what we're doing this morning with Charles and Amy Miller. They are back on the show with Scenic Neurotherapy. Good to see you.
Thanks for having us.
We're all parents around here. We've been talking about some things, and each of us in turn, a few minutes ago when we were chit-chatting, would say, oh, I'm going to go home and tell my kid that. Oh, I'm going to go home. The power of positive thinking is a real thing.
It absolutely is. It's the power of our perception of the world around us. If we look for something positive, odds are we'll find it. But it's kind of the same thing with negative thinking as well, is that if we find what we're looking for.
So you wanted to come on today in the new year and talk about establishing good habits, whether that's a physical habit like getting out and going for a walk, I guess, if you're feeling a little bit down, as well as mental habits. Is the idea, Charles, to put yourself in control as much as possible?
Well, we want to create an environment around us that promotes good mental and physical health. If what we're doing does not promote good mental health around us, then we don't get to have good mental health. If we're not moving, if we're not exercising, then it is very hard for our body to feel healthy, and then we feel that in our emotions and as we go through our day. So what we do directly affects how we feel.
So I have a good friend, and she has this saying. We've been talking a bit on the phone lately about our kids, and so if she's got this stuck in my head. And her phrase is, from pain comes growth.
Absolutely. In fact, all growth involves pain. And I tell my patients all the time, failure is the only way we actually learn. If we did everything right the first time, then we didn't grow, we didn't change. It's when we bump into a wall, we have to find a way around this wall to get to where we want to be. And so, patients, at least my patients I see a lot, are very hard on themselves when they don't immediately come to the correct answer. But no one that ever grew found the answer the first time.
Okay, so I do realize we have to get it back to what y'all do at Scenic Neurotherapy. I could have so much fun just talking to you about life for a bit, but so to the point of if you're hurting, from pain comes growth. Yes, but nobody wants to hurt longer than they need to hurt.
Right.
And that's where y'all can step in, Amy, because what people do is they walk hand in hand with you and then a counselor or a therapist. But what they can do at Scenic City is kind of speed up that process to get you over the hump. Is that?
I think that's exactly right. So many of our patients come to us and they're doing everything right. They are exercising, they're going to talk therapy, they have a great life, and there's something missing, and we're usually that something. We can usually bridge that gap and fill in that missing piece. Now, that's not all our patients. Some of them, sometimes we're the first piece. They start with us, and then we start working on ways we can have better mental health. Because it's like Charles says, if you don't have a life that is conducive to mental health, then you don't get good mental health.
So are you seeing a trend right now? I mean, I'm sure that your office is pretty busy in January, much like a gym would be.
Yeah.
Are people coming in primarily for depression? Is it a lot of anxiety? What are you seeing?
The beginning of the year is always busier time for us because I think people are looking to make a positive change. Mental health is something after the holidays, we all enjoy, we all look at the holidays as a positive time, but there are many people out there that it is a struggle. Some of the most damaging things that occur to us in our life, unfortunately, occur to us through our families. And it being such a family time, it can bring up a lot of feelings.
We were talking earlier just kind of about some general things, and Amy used a phrase about, in a book I guess you'd read recently, about third space. We used to have a lot of third space, which was just areas to go and be with people, but it didn't involve spending money or your phones, which weren't even in existence then. If you are having a downtime, and we've all been there, and it can be really hard, but we live in this reclusive world now. You're allowed to be. Is a good first step, even just going to the grocery store, being around people or getting out, is that a good first step?
You want a positive net gain in your day. So like if you never leave your bed, then getting up and taking a shower is a positive net gain. It doesn't have to do anything beyond that. That day is a win if you've done a little more. And then you can go right back to bed if you want to, but usually if you get up and get in the shower and get yourself ready for the day, you might be able to take the next step a little easier.
That's a great way to put it, because what you just did was you did not say, yes, this is my advice to you, do these things in your day. You said, look at what you're doing now and add.
Yeah, it's like when you're training for a marathon, or if you look at people who run competitively, they're mostly competing with their last time, with themselves. So they're not trying to build off of this other guy's progress. They're trying to do better than they did the time before. And that's where we should all be in our lives, is the only one we should ever be competing with is the person we used to be.
That's good. That's really good. When people come to you, I know you work with fibromyalgia. You do a lot with people who have other types of chronic pain.
Many different chronic pain disorders, nerve-based chronic pain disorders, even structural pain disorders. What we do is we minimize pain while they rebuild. So the work they do with physical therapy, we're able to keep pain in check in a non-opioid, non-narcotic fashion, something that doesn't require daily medication, keeping inflammation in check, in a meaningful way. And meaningful is only meaningful if the patient finds it meaningful. And so it's very subjective to them.
Whether you're dealing with chronic pain or it's just which can create depression, right? Chronic pain
Oh,
can.
absolutely.
Or if it's just a straight depression, you often can feel unheard. It's a difficult thing for people in your world to know how to support if they themselves have not ever walked it.
It's true.
Right? So
That
do
is
you ever
true.
find when people come to you for that first consultation, is one of the things they say when they leave that it's the first time they felt heard?
We do hear that a lot. I think a lot of times in our day-to-day life, especially if you're surrounded by people who don't struggle, it's the fault of neither party. They have a really hard time fathoming when someone's struggling. If you don't struggle, then looking at someone who does, you're like, can you just not think about that? Or can you try to think more positive? Or just put that out of your mind for now. If that were possible, if they could think their way through this, they would have done so already.
Right.
Like nobody's just choosing to sit in it.
So if someone's watching today and they have someone in their life who they love, and they're going to hopefully get in to see you, but right now they've got to have supper together tonight, and the person has a difficult day, what should they say?
Well,
Tell me more?
It's I guess validate it. Just realize that this is their feelings, and they're not choosing to feel this way. If we could choose what we feel, nobody would ever choose to feel bad. It's now maybe behaviors are feeding into it, and there are subtle changes that we all see, but we have to get, what we have found is that depression, anxiety are very much physiologic conditions in the brain. It's inappropriate feelings that are generated with the world around us.
So as I close, let me say this. One of our little nuggets off camera was that we were all talking about that power of positive thinking. And if you say negative thoughts, even think them, but especially if you say them, your brain does hold on to it.
Yeah.
So change that behavior if nothing else. Say something positive.
Well, when we say things out loud, we create neural pathways through a series of processes. When we just think positively, which is also very good, we light up existing pathways in the brain. So by saying it out loud will create a new pathway. It's like your ears hear it, your temporal lobe processes it, it ends up here in your frontal lobe, and it actually will begin the creation of a new thought process.
All
But
right.
it's the same thing with negative thinking. We want to lean towards the positive, what we verbalize out loud.
Then here's my new neural pathway. I like you, Charles Miller.
I
How's
like
that?
you, Julie.
All right, here's how you can find him at Scenic City Neurotherapy, Charles and Amy Miller on Shallowford Road, 228-0579. The website, sceniccityneuroTherapy.com. When you go in for that first consultation, it is of no cost to you. They will spend a lot of time and you'll get a lot of positive feedback and new neural pathways before you leave. Thanks.
Thank you for having us.